All right, folks. Well, you know you're in for a treat when you hear that tune because it's time for another week of the RecPoker Podcast. This is our weekly chats interview edition, but we also have a weekly forums edition that's all about strategy. I'm Jim Reid, your host for both, and I go by Bluffsterini in the home game and at RecPoker Jim on socials. And I have the best freaking job in the world talking poker with my friends every Monday night at 7:30 Eastern live on YouTube. Join us for free, and you can win a prize just for showing up. Now, we're going to be speaking to Niall Farrell in just a moment. But first, I'm proud to share that we're brought to you by Running Aces. They are the official sponsor of the RecPoker Podcast. Most of what we do here is free. We're a largely volunteer-based organization, so we really depend on support from our sponsors and from our premium members who take part in our training materials and study opportunities for only $22 a month. And so if you're a listener and you're enjoying what we're doing here, a great way to support us is by getting your first month of premium membership for only $5 by using the code RecPoker at checkout. But you know we love supporting food banks around here. So if you make a donation of any amount to your local food bank and send us the receipt, we'll happily send you your first month of RecPoker premium membership for free as a way of saying thanks for helping out your fellow humans, and I hope you do. Now, speaking of fellow humans, so you get used to hearing my voice because they let me host the show on Mondays, but I'm only one man. It takes a crew to make all the magic happen around here. We call our leadership panel the Wrecking Crew. If you want to learn more about me or the rest of the Wrecking Crew, you can go to rec.poker/crew or just listen up because you're going to meet a few of them on the show here tonight. We've got a full house with Kim Kilroy, Lorianne Persinger, Joe Coolis, John Somsky, Rob Washam, and of course our invisible producer, Rob Gardner. So again, let's just kind of see what's been going on this week with the crew. I know I've been watching Severance. It's, I think, one of the best shows on TV right now. And it's now definitely my favorite show because this week they featured one of my favorite books of all time, The Death of Ivan Ilyich by Tolstoy. And if you haven't read The Death of Ivan Ilyich, I really encourage you to do so. It's a very short book, but it's very deep, and it gets into a lot of sort of the concepts that we struggle with when it comes to mortality and our perspective on life and what matters and who matters. And it's a short book, but it sticks with you. It sure stuck with me. And I was so excited to see it get featured on one of my favorite shows. What about the rest of you? John Somsky, what did you get up to this week?
Well, probably the best time I had this week was Tuesday night when I was watching the first entry in this year's Marek Madness.
Oh, yeah. Nice. That's our heads up bracket, and 16 of us are all competing against each other to take home the crown. You're actually, and we have last year's reigning champion here on the show with us, Joe Coolis. How about that? And I believe, Joe, you're playing your first match this week on Tuesday night. So folks, tune in every Tuesday night. Tuesday night, the whole month of March, or Marek as we call it. You can come and follow the action. It's going to be some awesome battles. Joe, how did it feel?
I am playing this week, and you know, I can just feel the love of my compatriots as I am the 16 seed coming back as the reigning champion, which I find rather interesting. But that's all right. I'm not taking it personal.
That's right.
I
think you are.
Yeah, it sounds like you're a little, Joe.
I am number 16. Yeah, that's right. But despite that excitement, the excitement for me actually is that my daughter this week was playing in her conference championship, and they won. They won 4 games, which means she's actually going to be dancing in the NCAA tournament.
Oh, wow.
3, and we'll be going down to Johns Hopkins University to play their first game on Friday. So I am very much looking forward to that, and I'm very proud of her.
Congratulations, man. That's fantastic. Yeah, is that the real March Madness? We have our fun, but that is kind of where it started. So, okay, good for you. Congrats.
Thanks.
Rob Washam, you were saying you've also just been on a huge winning streak when it comes from what I understand.
Not exactly. Although I did win my first round match in Marek Madness last Tuesday.
Oh, nice.
But that's about the only win
Yeah.
that I've had.
I agree with Kim.
Yeah, boo. That's right. We got a couple. I don't want to say losers, but they lost the match. They just lost the match. They're in the pen right now.
I came back from the dead against Kim, actually.
A number of times.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was the first time I've won in months. I play in this home tournament game, 50 or 60 people from our retirement community here. A lot of recreational players. They limp everything. Nobody has studied at all. I'm reading all these poker books. I'm studying, and they're kicking my butt every week. I haven't taken down one of those since December. So I don't know. I don't know if all this training is doing me any good in this game.
It's tough. It's tough playing against recreational players, right? They're going to surprise you. You never know.
Yeah. Yep.
But congrats on the win. Now you actually were playing against Kim in Marek Madness last week and eked out quite a spectacular victory. She had you on the ropes for several rounds there, but you came back. Kim, what was that like for you? And what's your update for the crew this week?
I don't know. I have any memory of it.
They've already blocked it out.
I have a little announcement. I've been running really badly. I've just on the bad side of variance, and it's like losing the 80-20s, losing the 70-30s, just over and over in big tournament spots. And I'm sick of it. So I've actually signed up for a cash game course, and I'm going to forget tournaments.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start playing cash, and just to lower the variance.
Yes.
And learn how to play deep stacked. And we're going to see how it goes. And I'm going to play for the next 6 months. I'm going to be playing cash. And I'm still going to go to the couple of tournaments that I've already got planned. And I'll probably play a couple of them around here. But my focus on study will be cash.
Nice. Welcome to the light. Welcome.
I've never played cash, so it'll be interesting.
You're going to love it. I'm so excited for you. Eventually, everyone evolves to being a cash player. I know it's fun splashing around in the tournaments, but this is going to be great. Good for you. That's cool. We need some updates as that goes along.
Absolutely.
Nice. Lorianne, what about yourself? I think you've got something exciting as well that you've been kind of working on.
Well, I hope it's exciting. Been working on the last 2 weeks. For those of you who are not in the loop, Las Vegas Aces, the back-to-back two-time WNBA champions, they have a dance team. Well, actually, they have two dance teams. The one of which is called the High Rollers for 50 and older, and they are holding auditions this weekend. So for the last 2 weeks, I know last 2 weeks, I've been kind of getting my groove back on and stretching and realizing that I'm not as limber as I used to be, but I still got some moves. So gonna do a prep class, and we have auditions this weekend. So I'm hoping to be, out there on the floor, because I think dancing is a fun way to exercise without exercise, meeting people. I mean, it's a chance to cheer on the two-time WNBA champions. So, and also I'm hoping to get brownie points because my hair is the team color. So that's what I'm hoping to get brownie points with that. So we'll see. So, and I'm going to mention that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I tried to sign up and say my beard was the team color. They weren't as interested.
It is a co-ed dance team. It's male, it's male and female. It's not just female. So, like I said, I don't know how it's going to turn out. We'll see, but at least I'm doing it. So
we'll be rooting you on from afar. That sounds like a really fun time. Good luck. That's this weekend. Okay, we're pulling for it.
That's this weekend. Yes, Saturday and Sunday. Like I said, I got a prep class on Wednesday night to see how much I don't know. So.
Well, speaking of prep classes, I'm going to bring in our invisible producer, Rob Gardner. Rob, you finally are unveiling some prep classes of your own. Can you share some details about that with the audience?
Yeah, 500 hours of work later, which I didn't know when I started this is going to do that. Last fall, I really kind of got this desire to create a poker training course that was really catered more towards casual recreational players, wasn't heavily GTO focused with tons of solves and charts and partial frequencies. It was just breaking the game down into simple decisions that could make people feel more confident about their game, more competitive, and have a study process that wasn't 3 hours every day. So we put together a course called the Ramp Poker Core Training Course. It's 62 videos, all between 6 and 15 minutes. So very short watch time. You can watch it on your way to work or at the gym or whatever. And it kind of takes you through a bunch of core poker concepts and then gives you some really cool thought processes for different situations in poker. And then there's some fun exploits in there that we teach you. So that's available over at ramppoker.com. But if you do go over and you get the course, please let Jim know, because I don't have his information set up if you just go straight to the website. And he will not let me out of my basement unless we sell at least 30 copies. So please, if you buy a copy, shoot Jim a message, say, hey, I heard about this on the podcast and I purchased this product so that I can get out of Jim's basement. Really appreciate it.
Nobody gets out of Jim's basement. It's been nice knowing you, man. I mean,
Is it a panel basement?
It's really dark. I don't know.
It's for storage, folks. I use it just for, long-term, short-term storage. Nothing nefarious, I promise. Rob's very comfortable.
Dirt floors. I don't get that with like mounds everywhere. It's just I don't.
No, you'd be surprised. That's how we do things in Canada. Anyway, moving on. Congratulations, Rob, and we're going to be giving away one of those courses tonight to our winner who wins our food bank raffle later in the show. So stick around for that. And also, I'm excited because we've been working with Rob for the last while, and RecPoker Premium members are actually going to get a discount on Rob's course over at Ramp Poker. So I'm excited for that too. All right. Well, there's a lot of things to get excited about. We've got freaking Niall Farrell in the house tonight. This is a cool one. I got to meet Niall in Dublin for the Irish Poker Open last year, and we had a good time getting together. Niall, you had put on this Feraldo leaderboard that we'll talk about a little later on. You're a very accomplished player. You're a Triple Crown winner. You're first place all time on the money list for Scotland. First of all, I mean, thanks for taking the time to come on the RecPoker podcast. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a little bit later over here, so if you catch me yawning and stuff, it's not because of the content of the show, not at all. It's just old man stuff for me, naturally catching up on me. But we'll get through it. We'll get through it.
I believe it. Well, I appreciate it. Getting that midnight oil. The first question I'm going to give you is something we ask all our guests is just how would you define your own role in the poker world today?
It's an interesting question. As of today, I'm kind of like I took a good amount of time off when my son was born, so I'm kind of just making my way back up again, trying to get to where I was before, or ideally a bit beyond it. So today, I don't know, like it's like, Rocky V or something, when he's washed up and he's trying to come back, something like that, maybe.
I like that. Well, here, we've started doing our speed round, opening the action right at the top of the show. So we're going to throw some lightning rapid questions. There's a way to say that. It doesn't sound so stupid. Lightning fire, rapid fire, lightning round, whatever. That's what we're going to do now. Opening the action. Niall, I'm just looking for short answers that are true. You can say pass. All right.
Okay.
And then we'll get some dramatic ticking noise from our invisible producer, Rob Gardner. And then we've got 2 minutes. We're going to see how many questions we can get through. Let's open the action with Niall Farrell. Do you guys hear a ticking noise? Don't do. Can we get
Jim, you have to wait until the end of the first question. If you never watched a game show, you ask the first question, then the ticking starts. We got to do it the right way here, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm learning so much from you, Rob. I appreciate this. All right. Opening the action with Niall Farrell. Here we go. All right, Niall. First one's an easy one. What is your favorite poker hand?
Scottish Aces, 8-4 of heart.
Ooh, I like that. Is poker a gamble or a skill game?
Skill game.
What's your biggest poker pet peeve?
People taking an hour to turn their cards over at Showdown.
Yes, that's a good one. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Is Ace King a drawing hand?
Yes, I'm old now.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
What's one thing you're afraid of?
Dying.
Should vacations be lazy or busy?
Lazy.
What's your favorite brick and mortar poker venue?
The win.
Yeah, popular answer. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
Name one player that you respect.
I'm Grafton.
Yellow light coming up. Slow down or speed up?
Speed up.
Go back to when you were a kid. What was your favorite childhood family holiday meal?
Christmas dinner. My mom still makes it every year.
Oh yeah, what is it? What's the lay it out?
It's traditional. It's turkey, like 3 different types of potatoes, Brussels sprouts, the whole works, gravy.
Amazing. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. Name one musical artist that you enjoy.
Eminem.
What's one thing you can't live without?
The internet.
Is a royal flush a straight flush? Oh, we almost got there. All right. We're not going to count that one. Okay. Excellent work. We're going to let our proprietary algorithm solve that in the background and come up with a score for you by the end of the show. But we got some good stuff in there. Thanks, Neil. I like that. And there is that one. Okay. Awesome. All right. Now, we kind of mentioned at the top of the show. I mean, you're a famous poker player. You've won more money playing poker than anyone else in Scottish history. You're a Triple Crown winner, and for folks who don't know, that means that you've won a WSOP bracelet, you've won a World Poker Tour main event, you've won a European Poker Tour main event. All of that within a few years of each other, from 2015 to 2017. Now, you mentioned you took some time away, and you've been a father first for the last little while. But with all that success on your plate already, how do you judge whether you're currently successful as a poker player?
I think it's really important when you do it for a living to not marry yourself to the results, because it's one of the things that we can't really control in poker, and you can only really control the process. So it's kind of a subjective thing, but I think successful is feeling when you put the time in that each day you're getting better, and you're doing, because it's a lot, even between 2015, 2017 and now, everyone is the game is so much tougher, everyone's so much better. So it's tough to, just come in and dominate like you used to. So you can't really get married you just have to, it's very cliched, but you want to trust the process, just make sure that you feel successful if you feel like you're getting better every day, I would say.
I like that. Lorianne, you had some questions, I think.
I do. And I got one kind of fun, goofy question and one more serious. Right. Back to the opening the action. Whenever a guest mentions a hand, their favorite hand being a little off, I'm curious, is there a story behind the 8-4 of hearts as your favorite hand?
Yeah, it was. I remember it was the first time I met who's now a good friend of mine, Jake Cody, another Triple Crown winner. He's the fastest Triple Crown in history. And it was the last hand of the night, and we were playing I think it was a UK IPT in Edinburgh, and the last hand of the night, we were having some fun and everyone was getting a bit antsy, so I kind of just took off with the 8-4 of hearts, and when he asked, at the end of the hand, I ended up winning a big pot that I shouldn't really have been involved in, which those are always the best ones.
That's usually the story. Yeah. That's usually the story behind it.
Asked me, what are you doing with that hand? And the first thing I could think of was, what do you mean? That's Scottish aces. So it kind of stuck. And ever since then, it's I've given anything that I won the first time I played it, I've given it all back playing it again. So I should maybe stop. It's pretty dangerous, but yeah, it's still got a soft spot for it.
I got you. Well, now that makes a lot more sense. But also, too, back to your Triple Crown. Which one of those 3 means the most to you, and why?
That's a good question, actually. I've never really thought about that. I think probably the EPT, the first one. It was my kind of breakthrough, and it allowed me to, in poker, for professional poker, we're always looking for shortcuts, and winning an EPT allows you to skip like 3 years of grinding, and you can just move up like to 5 levels and stuff straight away. So probably that one. It's pretty close. I mean, they're all great like tours, The bracelet was a really tough tournament. It was a super high roller in Europe, so it was a €25,000 buy-in. So the final table was just, I might have been one of the worst players at the final table, which I'm not to be fake humble or anything, but that's probably true. So to win that was very nice, but probably the first one, EPT Malta.
So cool. Such a cool story, man. Mm-hmm. Now you're Scottish. I've got Scottish heritage. Scotland's one of my favorite countries in the world. I love visiting there. I've got family there. I've never played poker in Scotland. What's the poker scene like there?
It's actually quite quiet in Scotland. There's not super a lot, although there is randomly this week where I'm actually going through to Glasgow in 2 days or 3 days. There's an Irish poker tour event, but in Scotland. So, I'm not entirely. I mean, I didn't do a lot of geography at school, but I'm not sure how that's worked out. But I'm going to head through for that, which is like a kind of £400 main event. It's the Irish poker tour. It's Fintan Gavin. I don't know if you met him when you were in Dublin.
Yeah,
but he always puts on really good events, so I try and support them where I can. Usually, I like to fly off to like obscure places in like the west of Ireland or something, for like a 200, and claim it's work, but it's just I just like to go there, to be honest.
Yeah.
So this one's it's like an hour away on the train, so
that's awesome. Kim, you actually had a question that was kind of tied into that, I think. Why don't you jump in?
You go all over the place to play. You play in lots of different countries, lots of different festival series. And I want to ask, what's your favorite place to play? Not your favorite room, but your favorite sort of place to play for the people, for the whole experience.
I really enjoy the EPT, just because they have like the whole staff, like the dealing staff and the players, like you get to the point now after like 5, 10, maybe 10 years now, dearie me, where you get to form a lot of like really close friendships and stuff. So when you're all going on the tour together, it becomes like a real kind of family experience almost. It's you meet so many close friends and people that you met. So those events, be it my 3 favorite ones are Prague, Barcelona, and Monte Carlo. They're always like fantastic events, and it's, you just end up in all these really cool cities with people that you really like, and I've shared a lot with.
Yeah, so, and PokerStars does a good job.
Yeah, they're great. I mean, their live events are amazing. The World Poker Tour as well is great. I don't play as many of them because they tend to be more American focused. Although I do get across for a few. I was in Vegas in December there, but they're great as well. WSOP, I have a soft spot for, even if it's it's the scale of it's a bit bigger, so there can be a bit harder to get top class dealers and stuff like that all the time, but. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm quite laid back, if it's as long as the building's not on fire, we're not getting robbed in the way out or something. I'm pretty fine with
it. Great, thanks.
We've got a couple questions from the YouTube chat already. I just want to mention, if you're watching live, get those questions into the YouTube chat for Neil and be sure to ask them in real time. And stick around to the end of the show. We're also looking for suggestions of names that we can play Stake Study Stack with Neil in and put him in a really uncomfortable position. And then, of course, we also are going to give away a prize at the end of the show to help support a local food bank. So it's a great interview. We're going to have some fun at the end. We're going to give away a prize. Make sure you stick around for that. We've got one question from a new listener or a new member of the YouTube chat here. A. Quinlan says, "Hi, Neil. Are you concerned with the extension to the Irish Open? Will the body hold up?" It's a good question. It's a good question because they added some events. It's a longer series this year. there's going to be several Guinness put down. It can be a lot. It can be a lot.
Yeah, I kind of am. I barely made it out at the end last time. It's not, I'm not 25 anymore, so it's getting tougher. But yeah, it's quite exciting. Like they're adding a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of kind of higher stuff as well this year. I think it's great for obviously JP and everyone who run it and own it, and it's great for them to grow the event. A little bit selfishly, I quite like it. Like, I want to be 12 Guinness deep in a 350. I don't really want to lose 40 grand at the fucking Irish Open, if that's possible. Like, it's more of a vacation for me, that one. But yeah, I think like overall it's great, but I'm a little bit concerned about making it through. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, if you're going to go out somewhere, the Irish Open's pretty good. So
it's a good point. Kim, we were actually just talking about that, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've only ever played with you at the Irish Open, so that's my only impression that I have. So,
I'm really sorry about that.
I mean, you always have a drink in your hand, and I just like, how do you balance playing poker with having fun, or is the Irish Open just for having fun?
Yeah, so it's weird because, like, obviously, when I got into poker, it was my hobby before it was my job. So I have like two distinct, I have like events where I'm working, and I have events where it's my hobby. And the Irish Open's pretty much the hobby one.
Right.
I wouldn't recommend people saying like, oh, does like having 5 or 6 beers, does that help? Like some people play pool and they're like, yeah, once I've had 6 beers, I'm unstoppable. And people are like, oh, is it the same for poker? It's absolutely not the same for poker. I get it. It's slowly worse until the end of the night. And then
all right, I get it. I just thought that's what you were always like.
Yeah, no, see, it was like, it's weird because so when I'm home and I'm like, kind of just like, if I'm playing online or whatever, and I'm quite quiet life, so I don't really go out and drink that much. But there's people in poker that just think I'm a raging alcoholic because they only ever see me when I'm playing poker at these events. So it's like, every time I see you have a drink in the house, yeah, but you see me 3 days out of a year, It just so happened, But no, the Irish Open is like a special event for me, and it's definitely I'm on holiday. People was like, let loose a little bit. It's the place to do it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's one of those special events for a lot of people, to be honest with you. So I'm coming back this year because, well, you had the Feraldo leaderboard.
That's right.
Which I had a good finish in the first event I played in the Six Max that qualified me into the leaderboard activities that you had planned. And so me and David Lappin and Ben Spragg and a couple other guys, I think, we had to like have a karaoke competition, pick some horses that were going to race. There was a split the G. I think there was even something else going on in there. And then I won a main event seat to come back this year. And like, yeah, you better believe I'm coming back this year. Like, there's nothing like the Irish Poker Open, man. You guys have like such a good atmosphere off the felt, let alone the fun on the felt. But like, what was that like for you, being the guy behind the scenes putting all that together?
I was just so, in the past I'd done some small leaderboards, and there's an event in Estonia called the Kings of Tallinn, which was just recently on. Actually, I don't know if anyone's ever been out to that, but if you haven't, you should try and go once there at least as well. It's really good. Mm-hmm. And they have a kind of team. It's like teams of 4, and then it's like a leaderboard contest and stuff, and it's really fun. So you get to the end of the trip, and everyone's like, there's the last like €80 hyper. There's like a rail of 40 people supporting their teammates because it's worth points and stuff, and it's a really good atmosphere. And I was speaking to oh man, it stars who runs everything, whose name escapes me.
David or
bad. Because I'm tired. He's a good friend. But I said to him, you doing a leaderboard or anything? Because it should be done. And he said no. I said, okay, I'm just going to do one for fun. So when I started it, I was just like, okay, I just, I'll do some poker stuff, but I kind of just want it to be like drinking, gambling, and singing, which is like what I think the Irish Open is to me. And Stars ended up giving me some real prizes and stuff. And I was like, oh, that thing you accidentally become important at work. It's like
the pressure's on now, right?
Yeah. So I had to before I was like, I just made a little trophy, and it was going to be like, the first prize was I'll just pay your drinks for the last night or something, and then this kind of normal thing. So then I had to do it from there, and so the Ferrado leaderboard last year was there was like 8 events, 8 open events. So it was like 306 max, the mystery bounty or whatever, and you get however much you cash for in those events is your score. So whoever the top 4 people total cashes over those events. Was it 4 people? I think it was 4.
It was,
They qualified for the round that the round that I made up, which was the splitting the G competition, which is where you get a pint of Guinness and you have to get it you have to take a big drink of it and get it to the G on the glass, and the closest wins. We also did a
first place.
Yeah,
just saying first place right here. Just saying
that was pretty good. And we had a horse race on the big screen as well, and everyone got given like €10 to bet on the horse race, and whoever won the most or lost the least won that one. And then there was karaoke as well, and it was voted. The karaoke was voted, and then we got kind of placings from there. And Stars and Paddy Power and stuff actually threw some prizes at it in the end. So, and I believe they're doing a kind of formal version of it this year, so I'm free this year. I can just disgrace myself competing in it rather than running it this time.
That's right.
Really nice, but it was a lot of fun, I thought, and it's just that kind of. It was just something fun to do, like. It's kind of what the Irish Open's all about. So I was like, we'll give it a run out. So, and I got to make a little trophy and all that kind of stuff. And I got to feel important for a bit. It was great. It was a win-win.
It really was, Joe.
I would buy a T-shirt that said "gambling, drinking, and singing," and then with like Irish Open or something over the top. You gotta get that merch.
That's right. Let's get the merch rights.
On the merch for sure. But, I think they do the T-shirts they've got the big drinking, the main bar area is this like kind of like no windows. It's always dark and stuff, but it's like really fun area. But in Ireland, the banter or the repartee is called the Crack, CRAIC. So they called the bar the Crack Den. And it really did feel like one by the end of the trip, to be honest. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, so much fun. I think if memory serves, the winner last year was going to end up running it this year. So I think it's actually David Lappin is going to be the Lappin leaderboard this year.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if because Stars are doing, because I know Stars are doing their own leaderboard thing now, like an official one. So he might have got out of it.
That sounds like
would be very Lappin-esque if he.
I was going to say poker's greatest villain. Just wouldn't surprise me at all if he found a way to skirt out of that one.
So I think, I remember. I think I read something on Twitter that Poker Stars are doing a kind of team thing or something with their ambassadors. So it should be good fun. So.
Yeah. All right. That makes sense. We've got a question from Benny the Jet asking, are most of the online poker sites available in Scotland?
Yes. So before I used to always brag to my American friends, like, oh, this is the real land of the free, we can play anywhere and stuff. But we can't actually play WPT Global because there's new kind of licensing laws here. But Poker Stars, GG, ACR, you can play anywhere, obviously, and AAA, Unibet, all the party poker, they're all available here. They are, unfortunately, most of them are like, particularly Poker Stars and GG are probably the 2 toughest in the world. And we don't know, so now my American friends putting on New Jersey websites and stuff like that have turned the tables on me. They're just picking up all the free money and I'm grinding it out against Russian wizards. But hopefully it'll swing around eventually.
Rob, you actually had a couple questions sort of about that kind of thing. Why don't you?
When you're grinding or when you're playing, probably more when you're playing live, because it's hard to know what's going on with your opponents in a online game. But when you're playing live, What are some of the mistakes you see some of the less experienced players making that you try to take advantage of?
By far the one I see that's most prevalent is what we call multi-sizing, which is changing bet sizes based on how strong your hand is. People do it subconsciously, and they don't. If you're not full-time professional, spending all your hours working on things, sometimes you wouldn't think about it. But I recently did. So in December, I went to Vegas for the WPT, and while I was out there, I actually did a bit of work for WPT. They have their live. I'm forgetting words at this time, and they have these like live boot camps. That's what I was looking for, boot camps.
Yep.
And by far the most prevalent thing was just multi-sizing. It was just like, oh, so I've got aces, so I'm going to raise it 5 times the blind, but I've got queen jack suited, so now I'm going to raise 2.5 times the blind, because my hand's quite good, but not as good as aces, So that is by far the quickest one, and it's the same for post flop as well. And you can make some hilarious like folds or calls based on that information. We joke about it at the World Series because it's very prevalent there, where it's we call it clock. Like you're not like, especially in the early levels of like a $1,000 buy-in or a $600 buy-in, you're not really playing poker. You're clocking in at the factory, where it's like you have to make like some like you're playing all the stuff you've learned is just a lot different. You can't really, because people will bet like really, really big when they have a good hand, and if when they're bluffing, they'll bet smaller. And it's just, if you catch it and you pay attention to it, it's just a very simple and very profitable thing to notice.
And then that leads me to my next question. Obviously, you're a study player. So what does studying look like for you today?
So there's kind of 2 main types that I do. Today I did, so while I'm playing, I have poker tracker running. So if I play a hand and I'm not sure about the spot, I just mark the hand. And then it happens a lot on a Sunday when you're playing a lot. And then, so today I had like 45 hands or something, just to have a quick check on. So for me, what I do is I'll find a hand, and then I'll look up the spot on something like maybe GTO Wizard or something, usually GTO Wizard, and study that kind of spot. That's the kind of passive reactive way that I'll do it, just to like kind of keep my brain fresh and see, I wasn't quite sure about this spot. Did I get it right? What was I trying to do? The more kind of proactive way you'll do it is if there'll be, when I got back into playing online, there was certain spots coming up where I was like, okay, I've noticed that, for example, when I'm playing as a cutoff versus the button, I'm not as precise as I'd like to be. So what I'll do there is bring up cutoff versus button and look at the solutions for pre-flop, and then a range of flops, and then use the software to do what's called drills, which is the software puts you in positions and you play the hands through, so you drill different flops and stuff. So basically just kind of targeting the spots that I'm least comfortable in, and it allows you to kind of fix the big leaks first, kind of thing. So I had a lot of out position spots were kind of giving me trouble when I got back, so I did a lot of work on those. And you know yourself, like when you're in the middle of a hand, and you've bet and someone's like raised or something, you went, I probably shouldn't have done that. And if I have done that, okay, so maybe I don't really know what exactly. Like, so now what do I do, kind of thing? Like, okay, so obviously I'm struggling with this particular spot, so you just kind of take a little note and then you drill it later, kind of thing. But yeah, so it's just kind of a mix of those two. I'm very lucky that a lot of my friends are really very, very good at poker, so I get to talk to them a lot about it as well. So I do like a once a week, like maybe an hour or two with Sam Grafton, who I've known for years and years. So when we've, maybe 8, 9, 10 years ago, I would probably be a bit better than him, and we used to swap and stuff. And now, he's a lot better than me now, so it's time to pay the piper, mate. It's time for me to get some get some payback. So let's go.
Well, that's so good, because I've heard, and we've talked to many players that have been on our podcast, and they say one of the main things to get better is to talk poker with a group of people that you respect and can share ideas with. And so I think that's so fantastic. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would agree with that for sure. Particularly if you're earlier on in your poker journey as well, because you can just, you can skip massive, like you just accelerate through stuff that would take you so long to find out on your own.
Exactly.
We've got some fun stuff coming through the YouTube chat here. Stuart Carriage, longtime premium member, says, Neil, you eliminated me in the Irish Poker Masters in September 2018. One of my better caches, and you took 13th. So yeah, apparently it stuck with him too.
I probably did something dumb. Yeah, that's probably
and we got some good stake study stack suggestions in here. Eric Ebson wants to know, maybe some tongue in cheek here, Neil, how do you deal with the god awful food in Ireland? Just drink more Guinness and Jameson?
The only food I eat in Ireland is Guinness. So, no, listen, like, I don't see people like give Irish, especially Scottish food, like, I don't know if it's just because we grew up with it, but like, like a hearty stew and, bangs and mash and stuff like that. Like, I like it, man. I don't know. Like, maybe it's just, what you grew up with, I guess, right? You just kind of used to it. Maybe I don't have a completely refined palate or something, but see, when you're like, the day after a few Guinness, a big pile of mashed potatoes and gravy and bangers, man, that's what you want.
That sounds pretty good to me. I'm signing up for that already. I can't wait. I can't wait to get back out there. Folks, get those questions in. We're going to be wrapping up the formal interview in not too much longer. So you got a little time to get some more questions in, and I hope you do. Lorianne, you had something.
I do. Neil, can you tell us about the the documentary, The 4 Rules of the Poker King, and basically what it was like to have a documentary crew following you around for several months?
Yeah, so that was, thanks for the question. That was, so I know the doc, it won the GPI award for the best media or something last week, which is great for Greg, who made the documentary. It was really nice to see him get some recognition for that. It was weird. I just kind of got a random Facebook message, and for some reason I was looking in the, the kind of spam folder bit, where people are asking you to like pay for their cat's operation and stuff like that. There was one that looked like it was from a real person, not a robot. Just saying he was a documentary maker, and he was looking to do something on poker. For God knows why reason, to be honest. He never was into poker or anything. He just kind of, I don't know how he kind of got to that, but we had a phone call, and he ended up flying out to Vegas. We had some chats and did a little bit of footage just to kind of show the BBC what it would be like, and it kind of just went from there. But it was interesting. It was like, I kind of got, a few years ago, I kind of just decided to stop saying no to stuff, because I'm quite lazy normally, but I thought, you know what, if someone asks me something I've not done it before, I'm just going to say yes now and see what happens. And that's kind of what happened here. So yeah, we did almost a full year, and it was good. Like, I'm really good friends with Greg now, a very talented guy. Don't get me wrong, like when you're in each other's pockets, there can be times where you're both, can you just go away for a minute, like give me some space, like both ways, to be fair. We're actually it was weird because we actually figured out we're quite similar pretty early. And I remember one day we did an hour filming on a bridge in Prague, and I was hungover, classic. And I was kind of like, do we have to do this today? But yeah, look, we need to do it. But we did all the filming, and then we got off the bridge and we realized he hadn't put the batteries in the camera.
Oh my God.
And I could flinging him off the bridge at that point. But but no, it was a really kind of fun experience, but it was quite interesting to see, because Greg came in completely blind to poker. Like the documentary for him, he says it's not about poker, it's about people's lives that have not weird lives, but like not the normal 9 to 5 kind of thing. And by the end of it, it's like at the start, he's like, he was asking like how many chips I had. He would say things like, "Oh, what's in your pot?" and stuff like that. And like that's not a sentence. That's not really what he's saying. By the end, he was down with all the lingo and everything, and so it was quite cool to see how much he kind of took it in as well. But we got so lucky with it as well because he told at the start he was like, "Well, I'll film you, and then hopefully you'll win a few tournaments." And I was like, "That's not how this works. There's a really good chance that you film me for a year and I win nothing. I just don't cash it." But we got lucky because actually I had like a couple of really deep runs and some major stuff, and I won a UK IPT as well, which is like to win a tournament while he was filming was just such a low percentage outcome. So we got really, really lucky with that. But yeah, the whole thing was kind of weird. It was kind of surreal, but I think it came out really well, and it was, a pretty fun experience all around. So hopefully we made something that we can look back on in a few years and be proud of,
Yeah, it sounds like it's made a splash. So kudos to Greg and for you and the gang there for putting that together. Joe Coolis, you had a couple questions, I think.
Yeah. So you said that you have a 3-year-old son that you said, and kind of took a little step back. So when I think about my poker journey, I started late, largely because I was spending a lot of time with my kids, and you have to have very set schedules, or I don't know, there's soccer games you can't make it to, and other things. How do you plan to navigate those waters as your son gets older, and as tournament poker doesn't always give you a lot of consistency of schedule?
Yeah, so he's just turned 5 now. I think I said 4 earlier because my brain's not in full gear at the moment. But no, it's a good question because it is a lot harder. I think being brutally honest, I don't know if it's a self-excuse or not, but it is. I don't know how possible it is to be at the top tier when you have other commitments. I think whenever you ask people like who have got to the kind of top of their industry or whatever, and you hear things like, "Oh, you have to have like a balanced life" and stuff like that. I think, like, to be honest, you kind of have to be unhealthily obsessed if you want to be top. I think, if you're not spending 14 hours a day in poker, there's an 18-year-old in a Siberian basement that's doing it, like it is what it is. I'm quite lucky that I had some good results before he was born, obviously, so I don't need to go and grind and live out a suitcase anymore as much. In terms of actually playing and studying and stuff, having a very supportive partner is the main thing. My girlfriend, my fiance.
Oh, congrats.
I don't think we've actually really announced that yet, so that's probably not great. But
breaking news on the RecPoker Podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, she's fantastic. I met her through. She used to be a dealer, and she was worked for Party Poker when I met her, and so having someone who understands poker and the poker world more to the point is really important. So, you have somebody, because from prior experience, it can be tough when they don't, you try to explain that you're working, you're away for 2 weeks. Like, well, you say you're working, but there's just loads of Facebook photos of you in a fucking bar in Barcelona. I'm like, yeah, it is work though, like it, no, so like the main one is the World Series. I still go out for the World Series every year, and my partner and Rory go to. She's Lithuanian, so they go to Lithuania for the summer and see all her family and everything like that. So it's basically just compromise and cooperate as well. When I'm home, the good thing is when I'm home. Like, I can take him to nursery, I can pick him up from nursery. I'm fully present when I'm at home. There's nothing distracting me. I'm not working out 9 to 5 or something. So like when I'm home, like I've been home 3 months now, basically. The last trip I was on was Vegas in December. So you can be a full-time hands-on parent, which is really important, because it kind of counteracts the, if I have to go away for 3 weeks, kind of thing. So as long as you do that and you compromise and work to each other's strengths, that's kind of how we kind of how we navigate it. But it'll be different for everyone. But we're quite lucky in the setup, so seems to be working for us so far.
Sounds like good advice. And I'll remind you that this podcast comes out on Friday, so you've got until then to tell your friends and family about the engagement before they hear it live, before they hear it on the air.
Yeah. we're not big announcers, I don't think it's a secret, but we're not, neither of us really.
We have our first scoop.
I know. Yeah, here we are. We're scooping.
Yeah.
But sincerely, congratulations, man. That's
Thank
a beautiful thing. Way to go.
Thanks.
So
Yes, congratulations.
Thanks.
I had one more quick question, and so I did ask this of David Docherty at the time when he was on the show as well. So my wife and I like to watch British shows, particularly crime shows. And interestingly, on the day that we interviewed David Docherty, we'd been watching Shetland. And ironically, on that episode that we watched that day, there was actually a poker hand that was central to the game. So this must all be coming together as kismet or something. But my question is, have you ever been to Shetland, and what's it really like there?
Right. I actually haven't. I've never been to the kind of the islands, believe it or not. I have an old high school friend who lives on Ulva now, which is one of the islands way up in the north, and she owns a very nice kind of seafood restaurant there. So I kind of see it through there. I've never been myself. It's quite Scotland's quite. It's kind of like 3 separate countries in one. Scotland, like you've got the kind of central belt, which is like Glasgow, Edinburgh, Stirling kind of area, which is like the metropolitan areas, like just kind of normal kind of cities. Where I live is in the south, just on the border with like 30-minute drive from the border with England. It's a bit more rural and quieter. And then when you get to the north, it's like, especially the islands, it can sometimes literally be, there's still some of the islands that speak Gaelic still instead of Scottish, instead of English. But also the accents, like, they can be speaking English, but I will struggle to understand what they're saying and vice versa. But it is like, I know it's very, the furthest north I think I've been was Aviemore, which is not super far north to be honest, but it's very beautiful there. But I see there's a lot of TV shows and stuff in Scotland about the islands and stuff, because it is a very kind of idyllic kind of, there's a lot to be said from cutting yourself off from the mainland and just chilling out, just living peacefully,
Well,
so it's on the list. It's on the list to go, especially because I do like my seafood. So
if you watch Shetland, nobody's living peacefully up there because there seems
that's
to be.
True. It's always these quiet communities, isn't it? It's always these quiet communities. If you watch the kind of the crime ones, I don't know if you've ever seen Inspector Rebus. It's called.
No, that we're watching Vera right now, which is not actually technically Scotland.
Okay. So Rebus is probably the most famous kind of Scottish crime show, maybe Cracker, but with Robbie Coltrane. But this was Rebus was based on a lot of Ian Rankin novels, and it's really good. But it was where John Hannah first came to the fray, and it was John Hannah who actually narrated our documentary as well. So cool. As well, so it's kind of cool. So check those out. I put them on the list if you're getting through the crime stuff.
My wife will be very excited for the first time that I'm doing this podcast because we've
That's right. She is also a very supportive wife, Joseph. We want to make sure she gets feted properly here. That's we. I don't know a lot of people that have made it very far in any industry without some support at home. So we're all obviously doing great work there. That's a good segue, Neil. So one of the most outstanding places that I've visited in Scotland is the Valley of Glencoe. But there are so many amazing ways to spend your time there, things to see, places to go. If someone was coming to Scotland for the first time, are there like 2 or 3 things that as a native you'd say, oh, you got to go check this out?
Yeah, so there's the kind of obvious tourist stuff, and I know people say they're like, oh, I kind of want to avoid the tourist stuff or whatever. But the tourist stuff tends to be that for a reason, in my opinion. So, like, the very obvious one's Edinburgh Castle. It's one of the things I would make a point of seeing if you're in Scotland. It's just, it's fantastic. It's just a big old castle, but it's still still set up in the hill where we used to, throw stones at the English, things like that. But it's still built into the side of this like big steep hill, and obviously if you're in Edinburgh, it's a fantastic city as well. So you can see all kind of sorts there. I would definitely do that. If you're going up further north, Loch Lomond or Loch Ness, both fantastic. Loch Lomond, just for kind of beauty and the kind of the history, and Loch Ness if you want to go monster hunting because Nessie's in the water somewhere. You need to see if she's still floating about in there. So I would say those kind of two main ones, but and if you, that's the kind of mainland area, and then if you can get to the islands, I would like, as I say, I've not personally been, but from what I want to go, and from what I've been from family and friends and stuff, it's worth doing the trip. And it's almost like a separate little country to go out as well. So.
Yeah. Well, and if folks have been listening to the podcast over the last several months, a lot of us are really excited about going back for the Irish Poker Open in April. And take it from me, it's a great time to go jump across the channel there and rent a car, go driving around Scotland for a while. You'll find an amazing array of places to go. And
jump on a Ryanair flight for about 20 quid for the price like 2 pints.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It's amazing how you guys do it over there. And of course, there's a lot of great stuff to see in Ireland as well. Most of it's just a train ride away from Dublin. So, a lot of our listeners are North American. I'm Canadian. We've got a lot of American audience. And for them, if you're making a big flight, making a big trip like that, it can't just be about poker. Go and explore the space and the culture and the people, and go and have some fun. The Irish Poker Open's a great fit for that. Well, I see some of our savvy YouTube listeners are already typing the words food bank into the YouTube chat. So I just want to remind our audience, if you type in the words food bank, that is your way of entering our raffle. And we're going to give away a fantastic prize at the end of the show to one of our audience members. And just the reason why we do this is because it's kind of a difficult time in the world right now for a lot of people. And it's never been more important than now to help hungry people just put some food in their bellies, whether you're left or right or up or down, back and front. We can all agree that hungry people should be able to put food in their stomach. And a great way to help is to just pull out your smartphone right now and Google food banks near me, and you'll find a place that can benefit from either a few dollars out of your pocket, a few volunteer hours out of your week, or some non-perishable food items from your pantry. And I just encourage everyone, be a better person, help out some folks that need your help. And the least we can do is just say the word food bank about 30 times on the podcast today, drive it into some people's minds, and get them to type it into the YouTube chat here. We're going to give away the very first Rob Washam. Actually, why don't you take us? You're our Santa. You're our RecPoker Santa. What's the winner this week can get?
Well, didn't you say earlier that we were going to give away a copy of Ramp Poker?
Yes.
The new course that we've added to our website now. Mm-hmm. So we've added it to our learning partners page. See, the Ramp Poker core training course, especially designed for casual recreational players, which is pretty much what we are, who want to grow the game without having to spend hundreds of hours watching exhaustive videos. There's a discount for our premium members, by the way. So if you're interested in this course, you can check it out on the website by clicking on resources and learning partners. You'll get more information on the site, and you can sign up for the course itself.
Right on. So yeah, I hope some folks give that a try. We've done a lot of different kinds of study groups and training materials here over the years, but I'm excited to have this actual like a curriculum based a course for some of our less experienced players to really get them solid on the fundamentals and some exploits. There's some really good stuff in there, and I think it's going to be a real game changer for a lot of poker players out there. So I'm excited to be working with Rob Gardner on this, and this is going to be great. And folks, I just want to remind you, if you're enjoying the show, you can give us a donation, support the show in the YouTube chat, just with a super comment or a super sticky or a super chat or something like that. We share a portion of all those donations with a local food bank as well. So your support of the show also goes to help support a local food bank. And if folks go to rec.poker/support, You can also find some other ways to help us out without spending $1 and to support some of the charities that some of our Wrecking Crew members are actively involved in promoting. So go to rec.poker/support if you want to find some other ways to be a better person and help the world out a little bit. All right, so we've got our last YouTube questions here. I've got some great recommendations for Stake Study Stack. Eric Ebson has a question from YouTube. He says, what other poker tours do you recommend in Europe?
Tours wise, like anything with the Stars name on it's always impeccably run, basically. So I know they've got the kind of the open events going on just now, which are like, I think there's one in Campione next week where it's like a 1K main, a 2K high roller, and a 300 and a 500, which is a kind of like a lower stakes version of an EPT, basically, which is quite cool for a kind of entry point. Anything with Stars on it in Europe is really good. I've played a lot of fun events out in Cyprus at Merit as well over the last couple of years. They have some really good games out there and some beautiful weather and great hotels and stuff out there. So anything in Merit. In the UK, we've got the GUKPT that's always very popular. Yeah, I mean, just there's always something going on. There'll always be some kind of event. You just look on the Hendon Mob, and I've done it before myself. Just there's an event in Bratislava. Let's go, and you just go. Kings of Tallinn was just recently. I love Tallinn. Teresa Nurisin. I always mispronounce her name, so probably that. She runs the tournaments out there, and they're always a great time as well. So yeah, you'll find something. Just have a quick look. Any of those. And some more, I'm sure.
Nice. Now we got a comment from Benny the Jet. Hop in a car and drive on the wrong side of the road? No way, Jose. Hey, listen, you joke, but when Mrs. Bluffsterini and I were driving around Ireland, we were on our way to the ferry. The morning we were supposed to be taking the ferry across to Scotland, and I got too close to the curb on some Irish country road and hit a rock and blew our tire. It's like 90 minutes before we're supposed to be on the ferry. Oh, God. I've never felt so dumb in my entire life. And that's saying something. I got to take a second to shout out Ian, the anonymous farmer. We blew a tire right in front of this guy's driveway. Not another soul for miles in the middle of the Irish countryside. And he has a lift on his property. So he got us over there, put us up on the lift, swapped out for the spare. We were back on the road in 12 minutes and we made our goddamn ferry. So believe, Benny, I'm saying you might find an Ian. And unfortunately, fortunately, I do have to name my firstborn son now Ian, if it ever comes. But he was well deserved. Ian, if you're listening, thank you so much. Yeah, Joe.
The luck of the Irish that he was there for you.
Yes, nicely said. Nicely said. It's true. All right. So sorry, I couldn't turn that down.
Well done, Joe. Well done.
All right, last couple of questions for you, Neil, and then I know it's awfully late over there. You've been such a good sport. I've really enjoyed this interview so far. You're such a fun guy. What's one thing we can all do to make poker more fun for everybody?
I mean, I'm sure not many, people kind of do this anyway, but it's really stupid, but just be nice to people, especially the staff as well. Like the amount of times over the years I've seen people throw you get frustrated, but you see people like throw their cards at the dealers and stuff. It's like, we're all grown ups, like, come on. Stuff like that. And like, not to get too negative, but you see some stuff where it's like, oh, how could you play that hand, man? Blah, blah. I mean, we're just playing a very fun, but ultimately stupid card game. Like, just relax. Like, who cares? Like, why someone did something? They did it because they wanted to grow up. Have a drink, relax, just go with the flow, have some fun.
That's
Cue the of hearts.
Yeah, exactly. Every now and again you'll get some idiot in there with the 8-4 heart. You just gotta let him do his thing.
The biggest problem is everybody may be of legal age, but that doesn't mean that they're all adults or grown-ups.
Exactly.
Very true. It's very true. Yeah. I think it's, you see it in everything. Like, everyone's an expert on everything, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you have to make sure everyone knows they're an expert. But that's just life, I think. But yeah, just be nice to people, treat the staff with respect, have fun, enjoy yourself.
Rules to live by. All right, last real question of the podcast. You've had such a fantastic life. You've had such a roller coaster of success. Let's say someone said you have to go back and do one thing differently. You have to pick one thing that you would do differently in your life. What's the one thing that you would do?
In life or in poker?
Either, whatever you think.
In poker, I'm not sure, because I feel like I've definitely been like top 1% lucky. So I don't want to change too much in poker in case I mess up the timeline. You know, I don't want
the butterfly effect.
We cut back to here, and I'm just like outside in a shed because I don't have a house. And stuff, you know? Yeah, maybe not announce my engagement on RecPoker. Yeah, that could be a good shout. In life, I don't know. Like, I've done some dumb stuff in my life. I think everyone has, but I don't. Again, like, I've ended up here, which is very lucky to say pretty much where I want to be. So I don't know. Like, you know, I got to live in your fair country for a few years because I made a looking back, very dumb decision, and ended up living in Calgary for 3 years. I decided, you know, I met a Russian girl in Vegas and moved in with her in Canada after 3 weeks because
we've all done it.
It's a very sensible thing to do.
Naturally.
No, we haven't. We have not all done that. No, we haven't.
Yeah, I
you
never did
are
that.
missing out, Lorianne. You are missing out.
RecPoker gives a pin for that, so I mean, I'm just saying.
But does it come with an asterisk?
Does it come with an asterisk?
Yeah. I mean,
you got to pick one thing, though. You got to pick one. What would it be if you had to pick one thing?
I think just essentially, this is gonna sound really cliche, but listen to my elders. Like, I was very much, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm invincible. Go away, kind of guy when I was younger, and I could have made things a lot easier for a lot of people if I just listened. So probably that.
It's a good answer, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, says Rob, the gray hair over there. He's like, why you all should all be listening to me more.
Yeah, I did the same thing, right? We all did the same thing. It's the old adage where all of a sudden when you turn 21, 22 years old, you realize that these people that you put down all your life really knew what they were talking about.
Yeah, there's the worst feeling in the world where, like, you know, you get to, like, I don't know, I'm 37 now, and I'm like, oh my God, my dad was right. That's the worst thing ever.
Yeah. Well, there is. I mean, we all. I think it's a human. We don't want to learn from other people's mistakes. Like, we want to learn from our own mistakes, and they stick. The lessons stick with us more when it's us making the mistakes. When people tell us, so I think it is kind of hard to take it seriously and treat it with the same kind of importance as when you're making those mistakes yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I got a lot of good stories out of it as well. So.
That's right. And you came out of it on the right side of the grass, so you're obviously doing something right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to close the interview with Stake, Study, Stack. So this is a game we play with all our guests. Neil, we're going to give you 3 names. You have to choose one that you would stake in a poker game, a cash game, or tournament. One you would like to study with to help you improve as a player. And one you'd like nothing more than to just steal all their chips and just stack them right there at the table, okay? The names that we have for you this week are David Docherty, Ben Spragg, and David Lappin. Stake, Study, Stack. Who's it going to be?
It'd be easier if you put someone in I'd like to study with. Let's see.
We're not trying to make it easy.
Yeah. I think I would want to stake David Docherty because the man grinds, the man works hard, and I feel like that's what you're looking for, you know. I feel this is a man who'll play. He'll play. There'll be some random GUKPT event in the southeast of England, and he'll just randomly be there. So I think that's what I want to go with there, which leaves me studying a second. I'm probably gonna stack Lappin, I think.
Good choice.
Just because I've never seen him have one of these kind of moments at the table that I keep reading about on Twitter. You know, maybe I can induce one of those if I like slow rolled him or something.
Nice.
Something along those lines. Although I feel like he'd be quite good study, but like he's quite good. He's good with words as well. Some studying as well, and obviously stacking Spraggy is quite good too. I mean, stacking all of them's great.
we did last week. We played stack for the first time, but it didn't seem fair to bring this one up. So you're staking David Docherty, and you gotta pick a horse here when it comes to studying and staking.
I'll study with Spraggy because hopefully that'll mean the BBZ poker guys will be involved, so I'll get some actual. As long as Spraggy's not actually studying with me, like as long as he's doing it's maybe like a video, it's like with like Jordan or something from BBZ.
Jordan knows what he's talking about. No
yeah, way. So that I could maybe like backdoor my way into some good stuff there. And that
3 names, 100% shade. I love it. You threw a lot of shade at it. That was very well done. Neil, if our audience wants to follow along on your journey or say thanks for coming on the show, are you active on socials? Do you have like a newsletter? What's the best way for folks to get more Niall Farrell in their lives?
Probably my Twitter is the most active one. It's at Faraldo87 Poker. I do have an Instagram as well, which is just Faraldo, I think. I'm not amazing on Instagram, but it's the stuff there. But probably Twitter is the main one. I do tend to tweet, because I like the sound of my own voice, and Twitter, you're just forcing that on people. It's pretty great,
That's awesome.
So yeah, that probably those ones, and yeah, you'll probably see me around at some point. Feel free to come up, buy me a pint, especially in Dublin where it's €12. And yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, listen, I really appreciate you taking the time and staying up and coming on the show with us tonight. You got a pint. I got a pint with your name on it in Dublin for sure when we're there for the Irish Open. And then one of us has to fucking stack Lappin. Like, let's make it in one of the events. That's the only. It's got to happen. That guy. I mean, I don't hate him, but he's poker's greatest villain. Nothing would make me happier than to take all his chips. So one of us has to do it. I'm tagging you in when the time comes.
That's great. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Ron. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. I'll see some of you at the Irish Open and some of you at other events in the future.
You definitely will. Yeah. All right. Thanks again, Neil. Real pleasure. You have a great night.
See you later on.
Oh, that's so much fun. What a great guy. We really only know each other from the Irish Poker Open last year, but I could tell he was such a good sport and so much fun. And when I reached out to him to see if he was available to come on the show, he was just like, "Oh, hell yeah. Like, let's make it happen. Cheers, mate. That sounds great." So I was so pleased to be able to hear some of that story. What an interesting character. Any other sort of
go back and cut all the engagement talk out of the whole episode?
Yeah, that's right. We got that. That's a scoop. We're definitely not cutting that out. Are you kidding? Plus, folks know we're largely volunteer based. We don't have the production budget for that kind of stuff. Yeah,
it's going to become a trend. I mean, people will start to beg to come on Direct.Poker to announce their engagements, just like they do at the Jumbotron at the games or whatever. This is going to be, I tell you, every poker player is going to want to announce here.
Yes. You know what? So open call, if anybody is considering proposing and their partner is a poker player, let me know. We'll have them on the show as though we're just doing an interview. We'll have you off stage. And then when the time is right, you come on and propose in real time on the RecPoker Podcast. John, that's a freaking fantastic idea.
Hey, Jim. I got a prenuptial business idea for you. I want to pitch after the pod.
Yeah, there are no bad ideas. We don't turn away any ideas here at RecPoker. Yeah.
You just have to ask if that ring has an asterisk on it or something like that. Is that what
Oh, that's too funny. Anyway, great. The one and only Niall Farrell, everybody. That was a treat. Okay, we're going to give away some fantastic prizes in just a second. I forgot to mention at the top of the show, we're also giving away a coaching session with Matt Affleck tonight. Wrecking Crew member Matt Affleck is one of the ways that he is contributing to our membership here at RecPoker is every month we are adding up all the folks that took advantage of our premium membership training events all month. So if you're a premium member, listen up. For every premium membership event that you go to in a month, you're going to get like a raffle ticket. And then at the beginning of the next month, we're going to do a draw live on the podcast. This is the first time we're doing it. And the winner gets to get an hour-long coaching session with Wrecking Crew member Matt Affleck in his monthly study group here at RecPoker, which will be held later in the month. And we're going to draw two prizes. The second prize that we're going to draw is actually an hour of coaching session with Mark Zhang, who is also a phenomenal professional poker player. He doesn't have the same kind of name recognition as Matt Affleck, understandably, but a hell of an up-and-coming player with some amazing results. And he's been coaching here at RecPoker for the last year and a half, I think. And I'm really impressed with his material and his way of reaching out to our members. So we're going to give away a whole bunch of prizes here in just a second. Rob Gardner, why don't you first just tell us a little more about Ramp Poker and what's going on with that and where people can find it. And then
absolutely,
Rob
but
yeah, we have
to flip the order because I had to type asinine bovine in 67 times for this wheel. So we need to do Rob's first, and then we can come back to the Ramp Poker.
All right, that sounds great. Then Rob Washam. So you're in charge again. You're the Santa. You're RecPoker Santa.
Yes. I put together the list and I gave it to our hidden producer, and I believe he said something about he typed the name. Yep, there it is.
Okay.
I think we had something like 31 different instances, but you could be in there more than once, as Asinine Bovine has done. So there it is.
Way to go.
So we get to spin this wheel. Now, keep in mind, you can only win once. So if Asinine Bovine, which has more entries than anybody else, wins, he can't win the second one. He can only win one.
All right. So we're going to get two winners tonight.
Let's take it away, Rob.
All right, you tell me when to spin because I'm not getting yelled at that this is rigged when he loses both times. So you say when.
When.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. I love this. And we're going to be doing this every month, folks. So if you're a premium member, get involved and come to the sessions. It was so close. I missed him by one. Oh, canceled. Wait a second.
What does that mean?
Who's that?
Wait, is that not on the list?
Is that an actual person?
I don't think that's an actual person.
That's not a person. I thought it said Benny the Jet.
It did for a second there.
Second. But, that came from the list.
Sorry, folks.
It's in the list.
Oh, okay.
No. It's in the list. You have it next. It says it's right next to Poker Psyops. It says canceled. So you bet the show was canceled. You didn't see. All right, I'm not taking responsibility for this one.
I just put everything down and then let it happen.
I'm not taking responsibility for this one. All right.
Awesome.
Let's try it again. Let's do it again. Let's see.
A tight ship we run here. A tight ship.
All the names for it to land on. It lands on that one.
It had to be. There it is. You got it. Asinine Bovine. Of course. Fantastic. He did. He was stacking the deck. All right, so congratulations. We're going to reach out to you. I happen to know that's a great member named Jesse. Jesse will reach out over email to put you in touch with Matt Affleck. Congratulations, man. I got to do some coaching with Matt Affleck over the fall leading up to the WPT, and he is a phenomenal coach. And I'm so glad that he's here on the Wrecking Crew, giving our members some study opportunities every month. So you'll be able to join him on, I believe it's I'm not going to guess because I don't have it memorized right now. So later this month, we'll be in touch, and you're going to really enjoy your opportunity to work with Matt Affleck. So now let's see who is going to get a chance to win a free coaching session with Mark Zhang. This is going to be very high value. I can't wait to see who the winner is going to be. Looks like Joe Rafter. All right, Joe. Now I said it. Congratulations. This is going to be great. So, Joe, we'll be in touch again. We'll set you up with Mark so you guys can decide on some subject matter for your study group. That study group will be a little later this month, and you're really going to get a lot out of it, I am sure. And for all you other premium members, if you're listening, get into those premium member sessions. We do several of them every week. A lot of the different Wrecking Crew members have their own study groups and their own ways of working with our premium members to help them take their game to the next level. It's all part of your $22 a month here at RecPoker. And this is really such a cool way to get some of our real pro coaches working directly with our members for free. So I'm looking forward to seeing this take off over the next few months. All right, now it's time to give away a fantastic prize from our own Rob Gardner and his new project at Ramp Poker. Rob, do you want to tell us a little more about it, or just spin the wheel and get that member their prize?
Yeah, we can do both. We can talk while we spin here. So yeah, this it's a project that's broken into 3 categories. We have concepts, which are like your foundational building blocks of poker that really help you get a foundational side to your game. Hey, Jaden Jewell.
There we go.
Situations that take you through everything from pre-flop to post-flop and give you a simpler way to think about the game. We start with like a baseline strategy and then give you a couple deviations to choose from. So like in any given situation, you only have a handful of decisions to make. And then there's some really fun move exploits that are kind of like strategies that even if you're not really good at the game, you could implement right away and have some success with. Gives you kind of some tools in your arsenal, if you will, even against good players. And we got to take some of the Wrecking Crew and premium members through the course before we released it to get some feedback. Got a lot of good feedback from that. Had a lot of people really excited about it. So we're really hoping that this will be the kind of tool that doesn't replace training sites, but really can be that thing that gets you to a level where training sites have a lot of value, because a lot of the training sites are really deep and really steep learning curves. And so we're hoping that this can be kind of a step into that for all of you.
That's amazing. And Jaden Jewell, I won't dox you, but I know exactly who you are, and I'm so glad that you're back in the YouTube chat and enjoying the show. And you're in for a treat. This is a pretty sweet prize that you've won. So to claim your prize, send an email to info@rec.poker, and RecPoker Santa, our own Rob Washam, will take care of you and make sure that you have everything you need to enjoy our inaugural winner for Ramp Poker. So congratulations, and I'm really excited about that.
I seem to remember Santa having a little bit more hair.
I used to.
All those presents you give out on the podcast, it takes its toll.
He shaves his head just because it's so warm where he's living now. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Moved from the North Pole to Arizona. So what can I say?
Well, John Somsky, why don't you announce some recent home game winners, and then we'll roll on out of here.
All right. Well, Keck Geek got, and that's Keck Geek Senior for those keeping track, got his first nightly victory for the year, and this is his 49th lifetime victory. So he is one away from the Silver Lifetime Achievement Award. John Lancer got his first nightly victory for the year. Carl0621, Carl Anderson, got his second nightly victory for the year. Roadstar 33 got his third nightly victory for the year. Vet 33, Kim Kilroy, got her second nightly victory for the year. And that's, of course, increasing her lifetime win to 67.
Wow.
Mike B172, Mike Bayer, got his first nightly victory for the year. Binkley Eric Jin won the LPP event, so he can contact info@rec.poker for his free month of Learn Pro Poker. These are a little bit out of order. I still have some more left. Normally, I do that one last. Maddie Bumpo, Kathleen Twomey won the Daily Mixed event for the first time this year. Now you said it, Joe. And as it was doxed earlier, his last name may have come already on the wheel. Won his second.
I didn't dox him that time. That was you doxing. I had nothing to do with that.
No. You just said now you said it.
I said now I said it. It was a joke. There were layers. There were layers of humor, John, involved in that. But okay. Fine. I am a doxer. I'm a doxer by nature.
Doxing people is not a funny thing, so we probably shouldn't have jokes about it. Okay. QTA 4LE won his or her first international victory for the year, and that is it for this week.
Right on. Well, thank you, John, for all you do to keep our home game club running. A reminder to everyone in the world listening, if you buy John Somsky a beer and send me a photo of it happening, I will buy you a beer next time I see you. It's the transitional property of beer buying. And John, if you see John Somsky in the wild, put a cold drink in that guy's hand. He definitely deserves it. And the last time I got to put a cold drink in your hand was at Running Aces. So I just want to shout out, in a couple months, they've got the MSPT coming. If you want to find out more, go to runaces.com. They've got a whole calendar of events and some great, cool events happening over the next couple months, culminating in the MSPT in April. I wish I could make it to that one, but I'm going to be in Dublin. Rough life. I think that's it, gang. Anything else that we want to throw on out of here? If you're watching this live, then if you're a premium member, come join the forum. We're about to record the forums edition of the podcast over Zoom with our wrecking crew, and welcome. I'm always happy to welcome premium members into the conversation there. If you've got questions about poker or if you have some thoughts to share, the forums edition of the podcast is a great way to do it. Come join the fun. In the meantime, I want to thank Niall Farrell, Rob Washam, John Somsky, Lorianne Persinger, Joe Coolis, Kim Kilroy, our invisible producer, Rob Gardner, everyone in the YouTube chat. You guys made it so much fun. Thank you for your contributions. Our listeners at home, we couldn't do it without you. So thanks for sticking with us. We'll see you next week on the RecPoker Podcast. Good night, everybody.